An LEC team has been fined by Riot Games after an investigation proved that Astralis was missing payments to their players and for actions by their team's general manager. Plus, T1 signed DaZeD to their Valorant roster, now completing the signing of every former CSGO player involved in the iBuyPower scandal. They're all now playing professional Valorant. And 100 Thieves officially leave CSGO for the second time, and this could be the final step needed to make the LA Thieves become a reality. All that and more next on The Breakdown. Welcome back to another episode that breaks down the latest in esports and video game headlines. My name's Weirdbeard, and if you want to get the news straight to your subscription inbox here on YouTube, all you've got to do is hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell to get notifications. Now, let's jump into the news. Astralis fined by Riot Games after LEC investigation. The Danish esports org Astralis has officially been fined a pretty measly $5,000 after an investigation revealed that they were failing to pay their players and for the actions of their team's general manager. The investigation was launched after multiple members of the Astralis team reached out to the league to log a complaint about failure to get paid for being pro players for the org. The LEC investigation eventually found that the missing payments were due to just human error, so it was deemed to not be a malicious series of events. However, that is not the only thing that led to Astralis being fined. The investigation also found that the Astralis GM exhibited conduct unbecoming of an LEC team manager, including the misrepresentation of certain contract terms with the team members and a singular instance of verbal misconduct. This is most likely referring to the former GM, Deficio, who left when Astralis was rebranded for the former Origin branding. There are a few other things that Astralis now also has to do outside of paying the fines, including setting up a way for team members to file grievances in the future and having to sit in on checkup calls from the league in the 2021 season to make sure no funny business is going down. While Astralis may not be the biggest League of Legends organization that exists, it's still important that justice is served for the players of the esports world. The investigation found that this wasn't an intentional slight, but for an organization that has such a massive CSGO team, stuff like this just isn't acceptable. Astralis still has not commented publicly about the LEC's ruling, and I don't think they have to, as the fine and the punishments laid down seem to be more than enough to cover the wrongs that they were found guilty of. But if something like this happens again from the same org, look for a much larger fine and not as nice series of punishments coming the way of Astralis. T1 signs DaZeD to Valorant roster, all iBuyPower scandal members signed. It's been a bit since T1 released 2 of their Valorant roster members, almost a month in fact, and we finally have at least one of the people that will be filling the open spots. Sam DaZeD Marine has joined T1, reuniting with a bunch of his ex-teammates from when he played CSGO professionally for iBuyPower, a team that was banned from the esport for competitive match fixing. DaZeD has been banned from CSGO permanently since January 2015, where he, along with Brax, then known as Swag, and AZK were banned. Their teammate Skadoodle was not implicated in the scandal when it all went down. So now, they're all back together again. And the iBuyPower scandal has been litigated to death, with plenty of people on both sides of the aisle when it comes to opinions on the outcome. But what's craziest is just how many people thought that they would never again see this roster back together and playing a professional first-person shooter. After the release of Crashies and Food from the roster, it seemed like it was already told in the stars that this signing and reuniting would be happening, especially since the fact that T1 haven't finished higher than 5th place in any event since a June outing for the Nerd Street Gamers Showdown. So what will T1 do now with a renewed roster looking to reclaim former glory? We'll still have to see, but if anything, this team has to never be caught in the cross streams of controversy again. Like, ever. For a second shot at doing this again, you've got to count your blessings and understand that this is something that just doesn't happen often. T1 wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think that this would give them a winning team that could be able to bring back some championships to the org in the hottest esport right now. 100 Thieves to officially exit CSGO. Are LA Thieves a go? It's finally official. 100 Thieves have left CSGO as an organization, this time for the second time, and CEO Nadeshot cited issues with travel, a focus on the European events, and COVID-19 as reasons for exiting the esport.
What's happening right now in CSGO, everything is transitioning over to Europe. We talked to our players about what solutions we can find, because they've been competing their butts off, and they have done the best job that they could to bring 100 Thieves the results that we strive for, and unfortunately we've fallen short quite a bit. So even if we wanted to make roster changes, there were still hurdles in our way.
While some see this as a huge loss for North American CSGO, 100 Thieves have certainly struggled as of late. They haven't been able to make roster moves or transfers or literally anything else that needed to be done in order to bring up the proper level of execution for the team as a whole. We saw a similar issue when 100 Thieves launched their Valorant team, but the difference is they've since made solid moves around Star Hiko and bringing in Steel, Nothing, and more. So to have seen their CSGO roster left to languish around a star like JKS was just kind of weird. JKS will still be able to find a home on Complexity's roster, and the 100 Thieves coach has moved on to coach Energy and Valorant. So not all of the players will be out in the cold with the dissolution of this team. Everything's going to come to a close after IEM New York ends, soon. So the organization will need to quickly decide what they're going to be doing to plug the hole of the organization, only because this leaves a serious question lingering about the org. I love 100 Thieves, but they now have a public perception issue, that is, are they a serious esports team or a clothing company focused on influencers? I think it's a silly conversation, but they need to have a stake in an esport that gamers consider a serious esport. That list is usually something like League of Legends, CSGO, Call of Duty, Rocket League, Dota 2, Overwatch, or Fortnite. So where do they go next? And do they just lean in heavy into being a brand that is all about influencers and personality brands? Or do they fight the stereotype and say it's time to win some serious championships? And the way that most are assuming that they have a shot at a serious championship is with the CDL and a possible franchise out of LA. Is it what's going to for sure be happening? Maybe not. But it's not such a crazy idea that it could never happen. Time will tell, so we've got to strap in and just wait for now. That's it for the news today. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're always posting brand new content right here on our YouTube channel. But did you know that Checkpoint XP is the only syndicated radio show in over 70 cities across the US and Canada that talks exclusively esports and video games? If you go to our website at checkpointxp.com, you can see where we're airing and if we're in a city near you. My name's Weirdbeard, and I cannot believe Howard the Duck was trending on Twitter because of Ocho Cinco. Football season's kind of weird.